Cognitive linguistics, as a scientific approach to language study, grew out of a number of researchers active in the 70s of the 20th century who were interested in the relation of language and mind, and who did not follow the prevailing tendency to explain linguistic patterns by means of appeals to structural properties internal to and specific to language. Rather than attempting to segregate syntax from the rest of the language, the line of research followed instead by cognitive linguists was to examine the relation of language structure to things outside language, cognitive principles and mechanisms not specific to language, including principles of human categorization, pragmatic and interrelational principle, the functional principles in general, such as iconicity and economy. The most influential linguists working along these lines and focusing centrally on cognitive principles and organization were Charles Fillmore, George Lakoff, Ronald Langacker, and Leonard Talmy. Each of these linguists began developing their approach to language description and linguistic theory, centered on a particular set of language phenomena and concerns. One of the most important assumptions shared by all these linguists is that meaning is central to language and should be the primary focus of study. Linguistic structures serve the function of expressing meanings, and hence the mapping between meanings and form are the prime subject of linguistic analysis. Linguistic forms in this view are closely linked to semantic structures they are designed to express. Semantic structures are all meaningful linguistic units that can and should be examined and investigated. These views, it should be noted, were in direct opposition to the Chomskyan school view, in which meaning was interpretive and peripheral to the study of language, and where the central object of interest was syntax. By the late 80s, the kinds of linguistic theory development being done in particular by Fillmore, Lakoff, Langacker, Talmy, although it seemed radically different in the descriptive mechanisms proposed, could be seen to be related to traditional linguistics in some ways. Fillmore's ideas that had developed into frame semantics and, in collaboration with others, into construction grammar. Lakoff was well known for his work on metaphor and metonymy. Langacker's ideas had evolved into explicit theory known as space grammar and then later cognitive grammar. Talmy had published an increasingly influential paper on linguistics imaging systems. Also, by this time, Charles Vancouver had developed a theory of mental spaces, influenced by the views of Oswald de Croo. This theory was later developed in collaboration with Mark Turner into the theory of conceptual blending, which meshes in interesting ways with both Langacker's cognitive grammar and Lakoff's theory of metaphor. Through the 80s, the work of Lakoff and Langacker in particular gained supporters. During these decades, researchers in Poland, Belgium, Germany, and Japan began to explore linguistic problems in a cognitive way, from a cognitive standpoint, with explicit reference to the work of Lakoff and Langacker. In 1987, there was a publication of Lakoff's influential work, Woman, Fire and Dangerous Things. And at almost the same time, Langacker, in 1987, published Foundations of Cognitive Grammar, Volume 1, which had been circulated chapter by chapter since 1984. In 1989, the first conference of cognitive linguistics was organized in Duisburg, Germany, by René Devane. At that conference, it was decided to found the new organization, which name was International Cognitive Linguistic Association. which would hold BNL conference to bring together researchers in this cognitive field. This Duisburg conference was declared the first international cognitive linguistics conference. So at the same time, the journal named Cognitive Linguistics also began its activity, and the first issue appeared in 1990 under the imprint of Morten de Groote, with Dick Geerates as an editor of this journal. For many cognitive linguists, the main interest and focus of cognitive linguistic research is its provision of a better grounded approach to and set of theoretical assumptions for syntactic and semantic theory, better approach than generative models can provide. For others, however, an important appeal of this approach is the opportunity to link the study of language and the study of mind, or study of human brain as well. So in latest years, the regional and language topical cognitive linguistic associations affiliated to Association of Cognitive Linguistics began to emerge. Spain, Finland, Slavic Language Cognitive Linguistic Association were formed, and then Poland, Russia and Germany became the sites of newly affiliated cognitive linguistic organizations. Also, a review journal, the Annual Review of Cognitive Linguistics, began its run in 2003, and other new journals followed this suit. Cognitive Linguistics, after edited by Dick Geerates, then was edited by Ari Verhagen, and then taken on by editor Adele Goldberg in 2003, followed by the current editor Eva Dabrowska, who took the helm in 2006. International Cognitive Linguistic Association continues to foster the development of cognitive linguistics as a worldwide renowned discipline, and continues to enhance the connection of cognitive linguistics with its natural neighbor disciplines of psychology, anthropology, sociology, and of course of cognitive science. Thank you for attention.